Like many things in the United States, the health curriculum of public school students has now been bought off by major corporations that sell junk food. The curriculum is based on something known as energy balance, this whole notion that you can eat whatever you want as long as you exercise and work it off. Now, we all know that not all calories are created equally. Sugar has a much more negative impact on our bodies than anything else that we could eat. However, that's not what Coca-Cola is interested in teaching kids. Now, the class is part of Together Counts, an educational campaign promoting energy balance that is wholly funded by a group called the Healthy Weight Commitment Foundation, which is in turn run by and bankrolled by junk food corporations. So Indra Nooyi, who is the CEO of Pepsi, is the chair of the board, and directors include the CEOs of Kellogg, Hershey, Nestle, USA, also Coca-Cola, Unilever, Smucker, and General Mills.
So look, those companies have a lot of products, and Mother Jones calls it the junk food industry. And it's totally fair to call some of their products junk food. Some of the other products are not necessarily junk food. In fact, not necessarily, definitely not, right? They do baby food. They do all sorts of different things. Now, they are encouraging kids to exercise. They're pouring $10 million into that. That's positive. But we can't have it. We can't have a curriculum that says, okay, exercise, that's a good thing. But, let's put the emphasis on that. Let's not put the emphasis on what you eat. And a calorie is a calorie. It turns out it's just not. It's just not. The fructose is much more damaging than glucose. It is. Sugar is more damaging than non-sugar.
Yeah.
So that's just not, we can't have you teach things that aren't true to the kids.
So Mother Jones looked into the curriculum. They did excellent reporting on this. And one thing that they found, and this is among many other very questionable issues in the curriculum, was that they asked the students, hey, is it bad to eat cookies? And they're like, no, of course it's not bad to eat cookies. They're delicious and fun to eat. All you got to do is exercise. But here's the thing. If you have an unhealthy diet, you can go to the gym twice a day. It's not going to matter. Diet is more important than exercise when it comes to keeping the weight off. There's no question about that. So this whole myth about eat whatever you want as long as you work out is dangerous to kids, is dangerous to the public at large. And I remember doing a study on the show once about people who work out regularly are actually more likely to gain weight because they've been tricked into thinking that if I work out every day, I can eat whatever I want. Now, people who understand the importance of diet are not as, impacted by that. But we got to educate our kids, and we can't have corporations who sell junk food telling our kids what they can and can't eat. That's crazy.
So, again, they're not legislating here, but it is the power of the media and in this case, propaganda, right? I'm sure that those CEOs would say, well, look, we were trying to do something good. Michelle Obama wants people to exercise. We're trying to help them exercise. And as much as it's a good thing that you put money in and other people didn't put money in, a calorie is not a calorie, so we can't have it, right? So let me give you an example of what I'm talking about here. A 2013 study tested, and they gave people an extra 150 calories per day, and that was just normal 150 calories, okay, across the board. And it turns out there was no extra risk in diabetes. It did not increase your risk of diabetes at all. Okay, that's very interesting. But then they had them eat 150 calories of sugar per day, and that was correlated with an 11-fold increase in diabetes rates. A calorie is not a calorie. Okay, so that's just not true. So we can't have it. I've said it 3 times now, yet we have it. Because you know what happens? I think that the schools mean well. They're like, oh my God, $10 million to tell kids to exercise. Let's do that, right? Mm-hmm. That seems like a great offer. Let's take that. But the overall problem here is, yes, sugar is worse than other kinds of calories. Fructose is only broken down by your liver, whereas glucose is broken down by other parts of your body as well. And so because of that, your liver gets oversaturated. And this is a simplistic way of explaining it, but you could look and see the studies for yourself, and it is true. So what happens then is it turns it into fat right away, and it tells you you're still hungry. So high fructose corn syrup is killing us. That's what's, in some cases, quite literally, right? But that's causing, it's not the only factor. Nobody's ever that simplistic. I hope not, okay? But it is a huge factor in the obesity rates in America and to the increased diabetes, etc. We got to get the high fructose corn syrup. By the way, you know why we have high fructose corn syrup in Coke when we didn't used to? And that's why a lot of people are now doing Mexican Coke, because it has sugar and not high fructose corn syrup.
Yeah, but doesn't sugar break down just as poorly as fructose?
No, fructose breaks down worse than glucose.
Right.
Right? So when you do high fructose corn syrup, it's worse than just regular sugar. Sugar is worse than the other calories, and fructose is worse than glucose. So it's also in all of the processed foods. It's in all the junk food. It's in all the chips and the cookies that I love. I love them, but they pack them full of high fructose corn syrup, and then we're all blowing up as a country. Why do they pack them with that? Because it's cheap. Why is it cheap? Because of corn subsidies. Oh, here we go again. The corruption in politics has literally blown up the country. In this case, our waistlines. Seriously, the corn subsidies made corn so cheap that they replaced regular sugar with high fructose corn syrup in all of these products, and that has made us much, much fatter. We got to get it out.